Hey, it's Worth Playboy.
And my Playboys Bunny.
Welcome to our podcast where we discuss pickup, game, relationships, and
Sex.
today's topic is she wants to be a girl around you.
Yes. I think guys give this lip service, but then expect her to essentially be a dude without a dick.
And I can tell that's interesting because, you know, the way I was going to approach this is she wants to be a girl, is you kind of have to turn up the masculinity
Yes.
on a date because a lot of guys are so used to well, at least they go into a date thinking this girl's not going to, what's she not going to like about me? Is she going to be a bitch?
Yeah.
You know, is she going to bail on, you know, is she even going to show up? All these
Right.
things. When the way you should be going into it is this girl is excited about meeting up because girls do get excited.
Yeah, we do.
And they do spend a couple days, you know,
yeah.
prepping. And she's probably spent 2 hours getting ready for this thing and bought new shoes.
Exactly.
She wants you to win.
Yeah.
So when you go into this, without being a dancing monkey, and I'm not going to say it over and over,
Right.
but I'm going to rephrase it that she wants to be entertained.
Right.
She wants to have fun, and then she wants you to take her home and fuck her brains out.
Yeah.
That is a great night for any girl.
And maybe one way to say it would be she wants you to lead her through the entertainment.
Exactly. Girls cannot be responsible for anything that happens sexually. That includes the date.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to actually move her from stranger to in your bed.
Right.
But once you realize that this is what you have to do, it gets easier. She's not going to do anything. She might stop you, but she's not going to help you either. You know,
Right.
so you go till she stops you.
Yeah.
Basically, you know. And so what girls want is they want to be feminine. They want you to make the decisions. They want you to pick the spot to be there. You know, you may be there a little bit late. But they want you to lead them. They want you to lead them to the bedroom.
Yeah.
And when you walk into the date with that in mind, you're going to do better.
Yeah.
It's not an equal exchange. It's more like 70-30 on you. You know, she's going to give approval. She's going to spark some interest. She's going to show you indicators of interest.
Yeah.
And your job is to keep moving her all the way into the bedroom. You know? And there's no other way around it. I mean, do you think guys are too on equal ground? They think girls have to carry the load more on a date now?
Well, I think this topic falls under a huge umbrella. I think that maybe in the beginning stages of relationship, I think guys remember this, that they need to amp up the masculinity, that that girls want to be more feminine around them. But I think then as they get established more in kind of a relationship, that's where the shit hits the fan. I think that's where they expect her to also be mowing the lawn and also be, taking care of the plumbing. And if there's a repair to be, like, oh, I don't have time. I'm at work, You're going to have to take care of that yourself. Well, she's at work too. He expects her to work, he expects her to kill herself at home and at work. And I think this is where that stems from and this is what I talk about with guys expecting women to be dudes without dicks.
Right.
They really do. I think that more so beyond the initial dating,
Okay.
guys tend to say femininity is out the window. Like now we're equals, and he wants to lead in that if it doesn't get done the way he wants it to be done, he's going to get pissed off. But that's not leading, that's reacting.
Right.
Where she's just trying to check things off of a list because she also works 40 hours a week. She also has 3 kids. She also is making dinner for you. She's also doing all this other stuff. So I see that more often than not, in this case scenario, yes, what you said is 1,000% accurate
Right.
on the front end, but I think it falls apart even more so as they get established in relationships, because more often than not, the way that guys behave on the front end of the relationship as being kind of the hot masculine leader of the story, they forget that a lot of the things in pickup, game, initial dating, and we talk about this a lot, you have to keep it up.
Well, what do we say? Relationships are game on hard mode.
Yeah.
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 It's harder to be married than to have a girlfriend.
Right.
You know, all of these things, it's harder to be married with kids than it is without.
Right,
You know,
right.
I mean, and all these things are challenges to your ability to run the game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I think that's a fatal mistake and this is reinforced is because most guys think the game ends once you guys like start banging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
No.
it's not pickup. It's how to manage each other. You know.
Right.
And you do have a good point, because one thing that I've seen, and I've even seen it like, you know, dating you, is women they can weather hardships,
Yeah.
but they aren't made for like long-term hardship.
No.
I mean, sure, we come from winners,
Yeah.
the women you came from across the country,
Yes.
the women, you come from survived raids and husbands dying and kids dying.
Right.
But in today's society, if it can be easier, or you can have it's just hard on the girl.
It
You know what I
is.
mean? It's harder on the girl than it is men. Men tend to mature
Yeah.
and become better men, but women don't become better women through hardship.
No.
You know.
That's very true.
So especially, I can't find the right word. Extent where it just keeps going and going and going.
No,
you
it
know?
really wears a female down.
Yeah,
she
she
gets very, and it wears everybody down. But like, I think females, because number one, they're not designed to put all the work on their own backs. They're made to be your helper.
Right.
That if they have to carry the load or feel like they're carrying the load for an extended amount of time,
Long-term hardship.
it completely it ages her 5 years a month roughly.
Oh, for sure.
It's very hard on girls to go through stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And there's a couple moments in a girl's life where things are always going to be kind of hard.
Yeah.
I mean, and women kind of like, adolescence is hard
Yeah.
on women.
It is.
Pregnancy and the first first year
Yeah.
where they're keeping an infant alive, so we're talking about nearly 2 years of hardship
Yeah.
for every child. Then there's menopause,
Yeah.
and then there's usually the death of their husband or their boy,
Right.
and that can take anywhere between 6 months to 10 years.
Yeah.
And you'll see women really age a little bit in each of these little scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
but in the middle of that, if there are extensive, like we're talking like 3, 5, 10 years of real hard financial hardship, where it's always like, it's getting better. It's going to get better. We're going to get through this. Girls don't weather that well.
right. Yeah.
And
That's-
oftentimes they'll jump ship over it.
Yeah.
It'll because men also weather financial hardship and things like that. The really extreme long-term stuff harder. And so if they're not weathering it well and it's spilling out into the relationship, understandably so, then she's like, he's an asshole and not the sexy kind. I've got to get away from this guy. He's abusive. He's always, every time I see him,
Everything's
he's just yelling.
amplified.
Yeah. So it tends to split otherwise decent relationships up because just weathering long-term hardship.
Yeah.
So this is where talking about women and femininity, it robs her of her opportunities to be fun, feminine, you know, just kind of nurturing. Girls don't want to nurture if he's flying off the handle every 5 seconds because of all the strain that he's under, you know.
Well, and what I would convey, you know, you need a couple of tools.
Yeah.
Is you don't have to tell her everything. You know what I
Guys
mean?
have a real hard time with that one.
Yeah. I mean, especially for a lot of guys, because their wife or girlfriend is their only confidant. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not going to tell their buddies every, you know, bad thing that comes along. You know,
Yeah.
some, you know, I would say the majority of men don't have that anymore. Or if you're in business, you tend to be alone anyway.
Yeah.
You know, if you're the owner, you're it, you know, or if you're working your way up, you don't have any peers to bounce things off of.
Well, and I mean, I would say, you know, also I think there are a lot of men who, even if they have the best male friends and guys who would really be good to bounce stuff off of, or at least understanding that you're going through a hard time, males tend to not want other males to see weak
Yeah,
points.
for sure.
So I think that even if you have those great confidants in a male friend, you still don't want to say it because you don't want him to think of you as weak when really you're just kind of telling about a phase of life that you're going through right now. But that same man who doesn't want another man to find him weak will dump it to a wife or girlfriend, and she's not equipped to handle it.
Right.
The guy friend is. He's like, well, let's have a fucking drink. Like,
Yeah.
You know?
And I've noticed, and this is what I've noticed, and you can test it yourself.
Yeah.
You just don't tell her.
Yeah.
And it doesn't improve the situation. It doesn't make it worse.
Yeah.
I mean, what girls don't know, it doesn't really hurt them. You know,
No.
I mean, because you're, you know, in business or in life, even guys with medical issues, quite often, these old school guys, they don't tell her until he has to go to hospice.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes that's the best way. You know, she doesn't have a whole lot of time to like grieve. He just goes in and he's dead. You know, so you have to decide. But I would suggest tell her less.
Yeah.
If you tell her a lot now, tell her less, and you'll see things kind of smooth out.
Well, and you'll see, and this is an important factor that I don't want glossed over. Women do not respect men who vent everything to them.
Yeah.
Women do not respect men who they don't feel like are taking care of their shit. So you will notice the less you tell her, the more, again, you'll let her imagination kind of work in your favor, because she's imagining success and that you've got your shit together and that you're taking care of business and that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's, and she will respect you more the less you tell her. And that's true even if she asks.
And it doesn't change the situation. It doesn't make it worse.
No.
The situation's still bad or
No.
good. You know,
Because
so
venting to her doesn't fix the problem.
yeah. I mean, you can give kind of good news. I wouldn't even do that much. I mean, for the guys that are like pretty hardcore.
Right.
You know.
Well, she'll know things are good because you're going out more, you're doing things together more, you feel a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
That's her indication that there's
That's
good
what she needs to
news.
know. Yeah, I mean, it's surprising how many hardcore business guys, their wives don't know. Like, what does your
They
husband
don't
do?
know
I have
anything.
no idea. He leaves in the morning and he comes back at night sometimes.
He works for da-da-da.
Yeah, exactly. He works for DuPont. That's
Yeah.
all I know.
Yeah. He wears
You
a
know?
suit. He's very handsome.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Or he doesn't wear a suit.
3 times a year, I get a dress and we go to a gala. And
Yeah.
I get
I
to
meet his
borrow
friends.
jewelry from da-da-da or whatever.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So I guess the bottom line on this is tell her less.
Tell her less. It allows her to keep her femininity. It allows you to maintain your masculine leadership. And that is the true balance of a great relationship.
Right. And it's almost like, it's kind of like what we tell guys in the beginning of pickup to do less.
Yeah.
Men's default is to take action.
Yeah.
And when something doesn't feel right, it's to take action. When just like text less, use fewer words,
Yeah.
reduce the amount of contact, slow down, things tend to fall into place. I've never had a guy say, I did this and it fell apart.
It's true.
It just works. It's
It's
really ridiculous, but most guys default to too much action, too many words, too much communication.
Yeah.
Especially if we're talking about like a wife.
Yeah.
She takes it on the head.
Yeah.
So that's a real deal. What would you suggest? What do you have?
I would say, if you're dealing with a challenge in your relationship, we've got two really good options for you. Number one is we both have evergreen bundles, but Fort Worth also includes a Discord community that is absolutely stellar. So not only is it everything he's ever published, ever, and ever will publish, first delivered to you first and foremost, but also essentially a lifetime subscription into Fort Worth's mastermind community that is absolutely phenomenal. Iron sharpens iron, and that's truly what this is. Secondarily, I would say get on a call with Fort Worth or I. Our consults save you time, money, and frustration and work specifically to the situation or challenge that you are facing right now, whether it's having a difficult time meeting girls, whether it's managing your relationship, whether it's a wife going through menopause, whatever your challenge is. We have met with countless men around the globe and really dealt with some really interesting challenges. And then you walk away from that call with actionable steps to take and solutions to face. So those are the two things that I would recommend. If you like this podcast, we appreciate if you like, subscribe, share with your friends, because we want you to win. Bye!